Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So this week I intended on doing a test ride on the FC, but because of some insurance issues and a couple of things that popped up, I wasn't able to do it this week. So I was thinking, with everything that's going on with the virus and everyone stuck at home, I figured this would be a good opportunity for all of us to get away for a couple minutes. So I figured I'd do a quick cabin tour of our camp that we've been building for the last 16 plus years up in northern New Hampshire. And I'd like to take you guys along for the journey. I'm going to just give a quick explanation of what we did, and I hope you guys enjoy. So I guess to start out with is right from the beginning. We bought a piece of land back in 2002 after looking around for already pre-built camps, which were either dilapidated or very expensive. So what we ended up doing is buying a raw piece of land that had a lot of trees, basically similar to this lot that's right next to us, a fully wooded lot with very tall pine trees, a lot of rocks. These lots are very rocky, and you'll see what the benefits of that were further in the video. So when it started out, we bought the land. We knew we had to cut a lot of trees down, so we figured we'd clear out a little area, put a tent up, and be able to spend at least one night and get 2 days worth of work in on a weekend. But at that time we had a 1.5-year-old and a 3-year-old son, so, and also a 100-pound lab. So for all of us to fit in a 2-person tent, that wasn't going to cut it. So what I decided to do is, at some point we knew we were going to need a shed. So we built a shed at home, disassembled it, and brought it up to the property, and we set it up, and we tried to get things to be a little bit more comfortable. Did a little tiny house living for a while. So I'm gonna bring you back. I'll give you a tour of the cabin, the shed that we lived in. So this is the shed we started out in. It's a 10 by 10 shed, hip roof. We put a little birdhouse on the top of it. I haven't even seen a bird go in there yet. I don't know if the holes ended up being too small. But this is what this was the upgrade. We went from a tent, we ended up getting some beds from Tracy's mom's house. We got 2 twin-sized beds, and it was pretty cozy in here. Tracy actually made curtains, and it was very nice. You know, we put a little heater in here, a little electric heater, because at that point we finally got electricity. But originally we ran it off a generator and tried to just keep it a little warm. But actually it was during the summer, so it would only be a little cool at nights, because it's amazing how it stays cool up here. So what we did is we put these 2 screen side lights in, and then just a makeshift screen door. And it definitely was comfort for doing the work up here. But after that was done, then we went to town on clearing trees. So we ended up clearing 200 plus trees on the property. We own 2 acres up here, and we try to utilize most of it. We kept that area kind of wooded, because at that time there was a view that we wanted to kind of screen a little bit. But this was the beginning of clearing trees. We made a long driveway, basically a U-shaped driveway, so we could bring our boat around without having to turn it around. We could just come down the road, loop around here, and just continue right out through. So I'm just going to give you a quick layout of the land before we start on the house. A lot of people say, wow, that's a lot of work. Why why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just buy something already made? So I'm in the trades. I've done plumbing for 30 plus years, and over that time I've worked with probably the best tradesmen that you would ever see in the world. The fine workmanship they've done is spectacular, and I've been lucky enough to experience it and able to learn from them. So one of my bucket lists were to, at some point in my life, to be able to build a house from the foundation up totally myself. And along with Tracy and the kids' help, we were able to achieve that. So now I'm going to bring you back to the house, and we will take a look at what we've done into the house. I'm just going to complete the outside tour of the property. With all the rocks, like I mentioned earlier, we were able to build some dry fit rock walls to give some landscaping to the outside. This is what we ended up doing. I'm not a mason, but I just like to tinker with rock walls. So Tracy and I rented a excavator and moved some of these bigger rocks that you might have seen from some of my older videos. So we ended up doing some, natural landscape looking rock stairs. And Tracy's actually in the midst of planting some bulbs and some plants that she's putting on the border of the rock walls right along here. These took a while. This basically took a summer, or a good part of a summer, building these walls. The kids helped with doing some of them. Shane actually did a lot of that wall over there. So we try to border the areas, like the living areas, with some throw together basically rock walls. And one of the things I really wanted to have up here is a giant fire pit. So this is what we typically will actually cook a majority of the meals that we have up here on this this fire pit here. But that's typically when we have people over, or if the kids are up. If there's more than a couple of people up here, we'll cook there. So yeah, these are the rock walls. Here's the shed again. But now I'll bring you into the house. When Tracy and I were trying to decide what kind of camp we were going to build, we both knew that we didn't want just a square box. We didn't just want a house with 4 sides and that's it. We wanted something that we could indulge over the years with our projects and really enjoy. So we didn't feel like we had any other choice than a arts and crafts style house. So we looked around and got different ideas from different places that I worked, and different magazines, different architects of the past. In my early years, I enjoyed working on vehicles. I had a passion for vehicles, sports cars, any other cars. But during my 20s and 30s, I had definitely a love and passion for architecture. And luckily I work for the contractors that do probably the most beautiful houses you'd ever see. So this is what we came up with. We did a arts and crafts style type of house. We didn't want a bunch of columns going across the front here, and we didn't want anything, railings or anything that was going to block the view from the lake, from seeing the lake. So what I did to get around having posts every 8 feet going across here, I decided to cantilever the second floor joist and come out to meet the front edge here. And what I also did is the roof rafters that come down to meet those floor joists, I gusseted them together with sheets of plywood glued and screwed and nailed on both sides for every joist that goes across here. And so that makes a unbelievably strong system of roofing. So what that allowed me to do is just have a decorative post on each corner here, which they really don't do anything. They're not really structural. But I guess they do have a post in the middle, and during very, very heavy snow years, they might be doing a little something. But at one point I've seen over 5 feet of snow covering those windows on the top. So I guess working our way down from the front, I also knew I wanted low maintenance on the front deck. So I decided to go with a cement pour for the decking. And also, I love stone masonry. So I took a summer, all of us. Tracy would make up the cement, the kids would hand me rocks, little chink rocks and everything to hold up all the bigger rocks. But we took a summer and we built this stone facade off front here. We would take and we'd work a couple of feet at a time on each of them, and we over the course of the summer we got it all done. I'm definitely not a mason, but I'll try anything. I figure a lifetime you can be exposed to so many things and so many projects. It's so enjoyable. And then another thing that we wanted to do, we wanted not just a flat ceiling. We decided we wanted to go with a coffin type ceiling. I've seen that on a few jobs that I've worked at, and it's relatively cheap to do. I didn't use high-end wood. I just used basic wood and just painted it. A lot of times the stuff I do like higher-end design, but I use cheaper products so it's affordable to me. And we ended up getting these lights on clearance at Lowe's, and we heard that using ceiling fans on porches kind of helps keep the bugs away, so we ended up going that route. We like it. They've lasted for a long time. I was a little concerned that being exposed to the outside would make them not last long, but they've worked pretty well. And this has been probably the place that we've hung out the most over the years. We've had many dinners, many board games, many laughs. We've had a really good time right here. This is actually a picnic table that a good friend of mine, Jerry Boucher, made. He made it a long time ago. It's lasted a long time, and it's been definitely a great thing to have. And also another thing is these Adirondack chairs that I made from a pile of wood. Somebody was ripping their deck off and had a pile of wood at the side of the road, and I grabbed them and made these Adirondack chairs with it. They've been here for a long time also. Things last a long time when they're undercover also. But Tracy made these beautiful pillows also. They're awesome. They've been up here a long time, and so we definitely have those out all the time. All right, so you know what? That's about it for out here. Probably the last thing is a lot of times we have coffee out by that outside fireplace. We picked that up on the side of the road. It's an old Franklin wood stove. I love having those just as outside fire areas. And I got from the salvage yard an old oil tank that I use as a log ring. It kind of keeps the wood dry. And when Tracy and I just come up here and we just want to cook a meal, just her and I, we have this little fire pit here, and we throw this grill on top of it. And I'm proud to say that most of the time we've been up here, we always cook outside. It's just something that we love to do at the end of the day. It's a good way to wind down. We have a beer and just hang out and cook a couple of hot dogs or steaks. All right, guys. Well, let's head on in, and I'll give you a tour of the inside. So this living room area, the centerpiece for the living room area is this old cast iron parlor stove we ended up finding on the side of the road up in Effingham, New Hampshire. This was basically a wreck. It was all in pieces and was in really bad shape, and Tracy and I went through and restored it. We didn't do any of the chroming or nickeling of pieces that should have been that, but that is so expensive. We couldn't afford it at the time, or didn't want to afford that at the time. So what we did is just did the, chrome paint, which is, I know, kind of like not the greatest thing to do, but it looks halfway decent. But we did do the stove blackening on the exterior of it. And that is basically the place where we hang around most when it's the spring and fall days that are kind of cold. Other than that, we're always outside. We got that deer head actually at a bond sale, and it's from actually 1950. And I'm not usually into that stuff that much, but I thought it was pretty cool. And the guy just wanted to get rid of it, so I figured this would be a good home for it to be hung up. But this is it. The interior of the house. So now we'll move over to the kitchen. So guys, let's move into the dining room and the kitchen area. So the styling of the house is definitely an arts and crafts style house between the woodwork, the lighting. We went with a lot of stained glass accents, like the lighting. That's not stained glass, but that was one that Tracy had saw and she just had to have it. And it was on clearance, so we grabbed it. But we ended up getting like this old oak table at an antique place and some old chairs. And this is basically the living room area. In our houses, we like to have at least one like boxed out window area, just for like a window seat area. Tracy made that cushion, the covering for the cushion area. And so working our way into the kitchen. At this point, we knew we didn't want to have built-in kitchen cabinets. We wanted something that was going to be airy and exposed and not closed up and get mildewy and get crappy. So I ended up seeing a similar cabinet like this in a magazine. And so I actually built this to replicate that one. What's good about it is it has basic drawers. It has very exposed areas, so it can, everything that's put in there can dry out. There's no places for things to hide or anything like that. So we ended up getting like this old sink that was on the side of the road and refurbishing that, cleaning it up and getting it, ready to be used. We've had that for quite a long time, and we've used it quite often. No dishwasher. We're definitely really basic here. An old stove that we had, an old refrigerator. Kind of a unique thing that we have in the kitchen is this old Hoosier. We picked that up on the side of the road also. It was dilapidated. You can notice we have a strap around it now because we were moving it around. But Tracy went through, this was basically white on white. It was just a basic falling apart Hoosier. And Tracy took it and redid it all. She painted it. She painted those acorns on it. She did the stained glass on it. It came out really well. All right, so let's move over to the bathroom and mudroom area. The bathroom and mudroom area, I can show you above the window. We did a transom with a stained glass window that Tracy made. She took classes on how to make it, and she built this. Let me turn on the light so you can. Came out actually beautiful. She does really. She's done a few pieces of stained glass, and they come out unbelievable. Sorry, by the way, for the. I have a couple of smoke detectors that I got to find out which battery, if the battery's bad in it. So working into, we wanted an area because we're very active outside. We hike, and we are always getting dirty. We're always working on something. So we wanted somewhere that we didn't track a bunch of stuff through the house, which we really don't mind that. But if we could have an area that would catch a lot of this stuff, it would be good. So this is kind of like our mudroom area, which is still under construction. We're still doing some work. We get the lights finally put in. This is where we store our little miniature pool table, which we love using that during the summer. Got that light But what we wanted to do with our downstairs bathroom to be a little unique is a lot of people around here have outhouses, but it's a necessity with some of these camps. They don't have a place that they can go, so there's nothing wrong with a good outhouse. But we thought it would be kind of fun to have an outhouse in the house. So this is what we came up with. But all right, guys, so that's the downstairs. So let's work our way upstairs. As you're coming upstairs, the first thing you'll notice is a window at the top of the stairs that has stained glass in it. Tracy actually built this also. She made the stained glass, and we had it actually put in between the panes of a thermal window. So that came out pretty good. And so as you're upstairs here, you first come to the bathroom, which is just a regular small bathroom. Kind of an interesting thing is Tracy made that holder for the towel holder. She saw these old handles that I got from a plumbing job, and she wanted to incorporate it into a towel holder. We also wanted to keep the same look of having a outhouse in the house. I gotta find that smoke detector. And so we wanted to have that stick out and kind of go along with that theme. Our bedroom here. They're small bedrooms. They're so small that we didn't really build closets, but we're just using old entertainment centers as closets. It seemed like a good, easy way. We don't keep a lot of clothes up here, just like a weekend amount of clothes. So we find them on the side of the road and we redo them. We hit them with some Old English. And another interesting thing, and we wanted little details of barnwood through the house just to give it a little added detail. These doors, you might notice, are pretty unique. I don't know if you can see what we're trying to do with these doors, but Tracy and I love old Chris Craft boats or any old mahogany boats. So what we wanted to do is give the doors a feel of like the antique boats. Like the green in the middle kind of signifies the seats or a seat, and basically the look of the boat goes through the door itself. We did that with all the doors up here. So like I said, we went with a lot of stained glass fixtures, which is unbelievable how you can get those like on clearance if you look in different areas online. And we ended up finding, we didn't want normal railings, we wanted kind of like a decorative railing. So we ended up getting these old metal railings, and we customized them to fit in between the posts. And so at the end of the railing, we wanted to have an area that we could either have bookshelves or put a small flat screen TV in a cabinet at the end. So we built this cabinet. I'm still in the process of building it. I want to have like shelves in here, and then I want to paint the back and finish this up. But so the house is rated basically for a 3-bedroom, but we noticed that a lot of times the kids have friends over, and we figured it would be a good idea to have somewhere that the kids could either hang out by themselves or an area that we could actually get some more sleeping area. So we ended up making this little space here that originally we were going to make a bathroom in this area, but we decided, you know what, the room for sleeping is more important. So we ended up getting the sleeper couch and having this for an area that can be additional sleeping area. But other than that, we're working our way to the other bedrooms. We kept the same theme for the doors. We still have to put door handles on. And we still have to actually get beds for all the rooms. We use air mattresses and different spare mattresses that we have. But that's pretty much it for the rooms. And so I just have a couple more spots to show you. And heading outside, there's one thing that a camp house can't do without. You're outside, you go in the lake, get dirty, you get sandy. I feel like you need a place that you can just come and relax and get cleaned off. And so we ended up putting an outside shower. Tracy got this grill from her work. It was just an old central heating furnace grill. So we put that into the floor. And we have an outside shower. We kind of went with the same look of the coffered ceiling, just small in this area. There's nothing like it at the end of a hot day. Last thing we'll look at is when I hang out up here, I can only hang out at the beach for so long. And so I need somewhere that I can go and just, tinker around and work on projects. So down in our basement, I set up a little makeshift workshop. And this is an area that I can just go down and kind of hang out. It's cool down here during the hot summer, and I can just get some stuff done. I have a old radial arm saw. That table saw and the chop saw and that band saw. Somebody was moving out of their house and they had it out in the front of the yard for free. So I grabbed those, which was an unbelievable deal. I mean, they're cheap tools, but you know what? They do the trick. I don't mind cheap tools for just doing small projects. But that looks like it's about it for the tour. Another thing is I wanted to build this camp as a house so I could sell it as a house. So I wanted it to be completely fully functional. So the house does have a full heating and air conditioning system. And it definitely comes in handy during the cold winters because the winters up here are very harsh. Grace. Hey, Trudy. This project's been a bucket list for Tracy and I to do. We wanted to build a house from the foundation up. We did everything. We did the carpentry, the electrical, the roofing, everything that you see in the house that we've done. We've done the sheetrock. And none of that would have been possible if I wasn't surrounded by the best craftsmen that you could get. Very willing to give information. They do the best work that I've ever seen, and I've been very fortunate in the last 30 years to be surrounded by these people. Definitely, the help of Tracy and my sons. I gotta say, being surrounded by awesome people is such a good thing and can help you achieve so much. Being inspired by them. But I want to thank them again, and I want to thank all of you for hanging out with me and taking a little time to enjoy. But I'll see you next week, and we'll be doing the test drive. And I'll see you next week. Have a great week, guys.